All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Giant Hot Takes podcast, your home for the hottest takes about the San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Jack, and I'm joined by a special guest, Colton from SF Giants today. Before we get going, make sure to subscribe to our page. We'll have Colton shout out his pages here. Pretty big guy in the Giants community. Thanks for coming on, Colton. You want to give a little bit of background? Where can they find you? What got you into this?
Yeah, for sure. So I started my Instagram first, sfgiants.today. We have around 14,000 on there. I appreciate you for reaching out to me and having me on here. I also have a YouTube channel. I'm trying to get that going a little bit. I try to post a couple times a week. We break down some of the games. I'm going to break down that disaster from yesterday as well. But yeah, if you guys want to subscribe to my YouTube and follow my Instagram, it would be much appreciated. And thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, no, of course. So we'll pop those up there. Me and Colton have kind of been in contact since we made the switch over to Instagram. We both just kind of feel like there's not fantastic Giants coverage out there from traditional media sources. So Colton's definitely been a big inspiration for us on his page. So definitely go give him a follow there. You mentioned the Angels series. I know you were there Friday. We were there Friday. You saw a win Saturday at least, right? And then you missed Sunday?
I did see the win Saturday. The Friday game, that was pretty brutal. Wasted a web gem per usual. Don't know what I expected, but yeah, it was still got to see a win. And I'm glad I didn't go to Sunday.
Yeah, no, just a disaster. I was there Friday, just public crash out on the Lamont Wade Jr., like 110 exit below to second base. I went up and took a walk. But was that your first time at Angel Stadium, or have you been there a couple times?
I went there once last season, so I was kind of familiar with it. The food is great. That's probably the best part of Angel Stadium. The food is amazing.
Pretty underrated.
It is pretty underrated, bro. They have everything. They're not as good as SF. They got the garlic fries. They're not as good, but they got everything you want for sure.
What'd you get? What was your meal looking like Saturday?
They got like this little mac and cheese place. It's called something mac and cheese, and I got myself a little mac and cheese bowl with some brisket. It was pretty fire.
Yeah, no, it's fire. I got like one of those like stadium helmets with the ice cream. I mean, just
yeah, for sure.
Incredible. So rolling into the NL West, Padres in first place, 16-6. Dodgers at 16-7. Giants at 14-8. Diamondbacks at 13-9. Rockies at 4-17. Is it a hot take to say here this is the best division in baseball, and maybe that we've seen in the last couple years?
Yeah, that's not a hot take at all. I would say it's without a doubt the best division in baseball. 4 out of the 5 teams could make the playoffs. I mean, the Rockies could be the worst team in baseball, but I don't think that takes anything away from the fact that these are 4 out of the 5 best teams in all of baseball, not just the National League. So I for sure think, without a doubt, it's the best division in baseball.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's going to be a battle this year, and just kind of keeps me up at night sometimes. It's like the Giants are... Yeah, they're having like this incredible start to the year, best start since 2003. I don't know when that was, but like a week ago. We're still sitting in third place. How do you think the Giants stack up long term as we get into these summer months? Because I love this team. We'll get into this team more so, but they obviously don't have a guy that can carry the load like a Tatis or an Ohtani. So where do you see the Giants standing up in the dog days of summer?
That's a good question. Obviously, baseball is probably the most unpredictable sport. It's a 162-game season. It's that long for a reason. Every player has ups, every player has downs. A lot of the Giants are struggling offensively. Ramos hasn't got it going yet. Lamont, I think fans are getting kind of impatient with him. I think Jung Lee is kind of carrying the offense on his back right now. And Matt Chapman's finally starting to heat up again. So I think there's going to be guys who are hot, there's going to be guys who are cold. And as long as they continue with the timely hitting they've had for the most part this season, I think they'll be in a good spot. And I think depth is huge, and their starting pitching depth is absolutely insane. They got their 5 guys, and then I think they have 3 other guys they feel comfortable pitching, giving them 5+ innings. So I think they're suited very well for an 162-game season. And I think finishing with 90+ wins isn't a ridiculous thing to say. I think they have a good chance to make the playoffs this season.
Yeah, no, not at all. I kind of want to touch on that starting pitching depth. Like, I feel like it's got to be, like, in terms of the 40-man or even going down to Sacramento, it's, like, one of the deeper, like, if we have 2-3 injuries, like, except for Webb, I'd feel very confident in them picking it up. Carson Wisenhunt just got announced as the Pacific Coast Pitcher of the Week a couple minutes ago. He looks really good. I think it's dumb to give up on a 23-year-old in Kyle Harrison. I mean, you can spot start Bivens. Tristan Beck's got some length, so totally agree there. Spinning back onto the NL West, I know Dodgers are probably going to win the NL West. I hate to say it. Are you more concerned with the Padres or the D-backs long-term here?
So if we're talking long-term, I would say it's kind of like the same scale. It's kind of, you can't really put one over the other, but I would say the Padres as of right now, and that's just because Machado, Tatis, and Merrill, they have them locked up long term, and you always want to lock up your guys long term. And then I think Ketel Marte, I'm not sure how old he is, but I know he is getting pretty old. They just extended him though, actually, and he's still putting up numbers. But I know Zach Gallen is a free agent after this year. Who knows if they're going to re-sign him? They just signed Burns too. I think it was an 8-year contract. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I would say long term, for sure, the Padres, they just have an insanely clutch team. And when they get to October, they're just a whole different team. And I think outside of 2023, they've been a postseason team pretty much every season since Tatis has been playing at that MVP level. So I would say for sure the Padres, as long as Tatis is on that team.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting because, like, I'm down at San Diego, go to San Diego State, and, like, you go to Petco Park, that place is just buzzing for the Padres. Like, that city's, like, it almost, like, obviously they haven't won the World Series that we did in, like, 2010 and 2014, but the buzz is similar around Petco Park. So they're fiending for some postseason success. I totally agree that the Padres are pretty scary once you get into the late part of the season. I mean, Tatis.
They're clutch.
Yeah.
They're very clutch.
It's random like that. Like if you take a peek at that lineup, the lineup's like not that deep, but just like Gavin Sheets is hitting 4.
Yeah,
I mean, it's incredible. So hope we can show out down in Petco next week. Would love to 100% steal a game. Going into our lineup, I heard you mention Jung Lee. I mean, every time I hear that name, brings a smile to my face. He's just out there getting like. On Fridays, laying down bunts, just getting on base, electric guy. You think this success is sustainable, and kind of what's been your first impressions of, I'd say, it almost feels like his first season after the injury.
I know, for sure. I would say last season he didn't get injured till May last season. He played longer. People kind of remember, and he was pretty, he got off to, incredibly slow start last season. I think he had around 200 ABs, and his OPS was under 700, but this year it's been insane to watch. He's getting the results finally. He hits the ball hard every time. He's getting 2 hits a game. He's getting on base 2 to 3 times a game. It's insane. He got all his home runs at Yankee Stadium. That was nice, a little stat pad.
Yeah.
But he's been an insane driver for the offense. And how sustainable is it? Well, he's hitting 360 right now, so I don't think he's gonna end the year hitting over 350. But I think it's not ridiculous for him to have a batting average. I would say over 300. You don't see that in baseball too much anymore, but I think he could do it, and I think he has the pop to where it could be. He's going to put up his numbers. His OPS is going to be high because he gets all these extra base hits off doubles. I think he leads the league in doubles still right now, so yeah, I think it's pretty sustainable, but not to the level that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's an insane amount of just doubles. As you mentioned, he's just roping them everywhere. Pop up the Baseball Savant page right here for the people watching on YouTube, and he's hitting 333 right now. Expected batting average of 336, so this isn't a fluke. You could say he could be hitting it better. He had 2 loud outs yesterday. You might not see him go 0 for 5 again this season is what it feels like. The whiff percentage, 93 percentile. He doesn't swing and miss. I mean, he's just so fun to watch. The hooligans are out there going nuts. Is this the most fun Giant in probably the 2020s?
You know, that's not ridiculous to say. We're not even mentioning his defense. He's a great defender in center field as well. He's got a strong arm. And most fun Giant in the 2020s I could think of, I would say so. As of right now, yeah, he's got, what do they call it? They call it aura. He's got aura. He's fast, grandson of the wind, and he's mid-20s, so it's I would say he's a pretty exciting player. He brings good vibes to the clubhouse, and the Giants, him and Willie have been great additions to this lineup for sure. Even though Willie's not producing yet, he's been bringing the energy every day. So having those 2 guys in the lineup has been a huge, huge thing for the Giants to see. Yeah,
it's huge, and it'll continue to be huge. Speaking of Adames, up to 202 after yesterday. I've thought the ABs have been looking a little bit better as of recent weeks. Kind of, what's your level of concern with Adames? Because personally, you see him out there just having a blast. He says he's not pressing. I think the vibes and the leadership and the bilingual is incredible for this team. But offensively, what's kind of your concern with Adames, or what are you seeing out there?
I would say it's not uncommon for free agents to struggle when they go to a new team. We saw Harper. I think his worst year in Philly was his first year in Philly. Juan Soto's had a slow start to the year to his expectations as well. It's not an uncommon thing to see unless you're Shohei Ohtani, who just destroyed the baseball last year with his first season on LA. But I'm not too concerned based on the fact that I think he obviously overperformed last year. It was a contract year. He showed out. He had 30 plus homers, 100 plus RBIs, and I think that was his best offensive season. And his OPS was still under 800, barely, but it was. And I'm not too concerned given the fact that I think this is kind of expected with the big free agent. Um, he has been having better at bats, like you said. I think it could be more of an average year offensively for him, unfortunately. But I mean, he could get hot next week. Who knows? And just go on an absolute tear and boost his stats. But I think as far as expectations for this year, he's going to be hitting an oracle a lot. It's not the friendliest part to hitters, and I think it could be an average year offensively with some solid defense. He's been playing a good defense at shortstop so far, even though this past series him and Chapman kind of had their struggles a little bit. But I'm not too concerned about the offense, just because like we knew this is kind of like what could happen. Slow start, and his offense. We just want his offense to be kind of above average, and that's a good signing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think people are a little freaked out by like the biggest contract in Giants history.
Yeah.
In terms of other contracts out there, it's not like an egregious overpay by any means. It's definitely top end of shortstop, but it's not like this crazy burden if he doesn't pan out, which I think he still is. He's under 100 ABs in his Giants career. It's already made it to where I think next year in the offseason, if this team makes the playoffs, you see guys like Adames, Chapman, and Webb talking about how fun this culture is. It's a guy that can be out on the recruiting trail. So don't hit the panic button on Adames yet if you're listening. He, as Colton just said, could pop 4 out in a week, and I wouldn't be shocked. So excited to see him get his homecoming against the Brewers. Hopefully he shows out.
Oh, for sure.
Arguably one of the other hottest hitters in baseball, not in terms of average, but clutchness. We got Wilmer Flores. I've already apologized publicly to Flores. Kind of, what have you seen with Flores? This guy, every time it's a big moment, seems to rake. Every time it's not, kind of bad ABs. But what do you read into Flores being, I think, second in the MLB in RBIs at 23?
Yeah. No, he's been tearing the cover off the baseball. If there's nobody on base and there's no outs, he's gonna probably strike out. But if you got the bases loaded and you're down by 2, he's probably gonna walk it off. So I think the Giants kind of need that guy, a clutch hitter in the lineup, especially at the bottom of the order. Usually, like you get to the bottom of the lineup to like end the game, you're kind of worried. You don't want guys like Sam Huff or Christian Koss hitting. You know what I mean? So I feel like having him in the 7 hole, that's where he's been hitting for most of the season. The production that he's been giving them has been just amazing so far, and I don't think it's sustainable to the level that it's been. We've already kind of seen him slow down a little bit. He had an insanely hot start. I think it was like 4 or 5 home runs in like the first 2 weeks. So yeah, he's kind of slowed down a little bit, but I think in those clutch moments, we'll see him step up from time to time again throughout the season, and I think he would have hit a home run to tie the game 4 years ago in the playoffs against the Dodgers. So, but I guess I guess whenever.
Definitely. I mean, that's probably like a Laz Diaz type of call. Laz Diaz needs to be reprimanded for yesterday, by the way. I mean, that's unacceptable. I sent that tweet out. I'm 100% still not over that loss. Like I went nonverbal for a little bit, but let's go get one today. Speak of incredible starts. I mean, arguably, I'd say one of the best relievers in baseball, Randy Rodriguez. Looks incredible. I called him Baby Doval last year. He's got a chance to be better than Doval right now. What do you see with Randy? This guy's like bona fide. Like you can't miss a pitch from this guy. What do you see with Randy?
Yeah, he's been amazing to start this year. I mean, even last year it was kind of the command and stuff, but he's always had the stuff. And last year, along with everybody else, if you didn't perform well or if you weren't. They just couldn't get you on the team. You'd be sent down because we all know who was running things last year. But he's a lot more comfortable. He knows his role on this team, and he's just been shutting it down. You'll look at his save it page; it's all red. It's unbelievable. And he's got an amazing fastball slider combo, and he's actually locating his pitches insanely well for how hard he throws. So I think he's been an amazing boost for this bullpen. It's one of the best in all of baseball, by the way. And they were saying mini Doval, but I mean Doval continues to go this way, and Randy's going up right now. So I like what I've seen from him, and I think he'll be big in this Giants bullpen. He'll probably be a setup guy by probably next month, honestly.
No, I totally agree, and I hope we start getting like some national attention from this guy because this is a legitimate, like 20 games in, but potential like having him going to the All-Star game conversation. I heard you mention the unmentionable about who was running things last year. Like, how big do you think for a guy like Randy, or even I'd say like a Spencer Bivens or a Christian Koss, to know that they're going to be here and we haven't had any roster moves besides the Schmidt IL stint? How big of a deal do you think that is for a baseball player to just have their roles? I know lineups are going out a lot earlier. Just transparency seems to be big for this team this year.
Yeah, for sure. So at the end of the day, these like we watch these players on TV and stuff, but at the end of the day, they're all humans, and just to put yourself in their shoes, like to know like if you don't perform, you could be living 2 hours away from where you're currently living right now. It's not like the biggest like comfort to have to know you got to go in there every day and put up your numbers, otherwise you're going to get sent down. So I think for sure we're seeing a lot of long leashes. Guys like Wade, like I remember when he got optioned, like when he first got up, Farhan optioned him when he was off to the hottest start. You're not going to see that. He's off to a very slow start. They're giving him a long leash. And I think it's just comfortability with these players like Tyler Fitzgerald. He kind of turned things around after a slow start. And I think that comfortability with knowing he's going to be in the lineup 3 out of 4 games and just he'll get his chance to get going eventually. So slow starts happen. And I think these players are very comfortable with who's running things now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you mentioned Tyler Fitzgerald. I remember, I don't know who the interview was. I think it was NBC Sports Bay Area said, like last year, if he had a stretch like he did before Philly, he probably would have been sent down. 100%. And I don't think Farhan would have let Ramos play last year if there wasn't injuries. So yeah, it's just pretty nice to see. I mean, you need baseball guys running the front office. It's cool to have analytical guys, but they don't need to be running the show. Speak of analytics, Hayden Birdsong has like a top 10 pitch in baseball in that kick change. How soon before we see Birdsong in the rotation, or do you kind of like his role as a reliever? Because I think he's looked good in both, but I think we're all lying to ourselves if we're not ready to see this kid throwing, I think, even bigger innings.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's a hard question to answer because, as we just said, these players' leashes are way longer than they used to be. And unless we see an injury, say to Verlander or anyone in the rotation, really, I'm not sure if Posey or Melvin is going to have talks about shipping Hicks to the bullpen because Hicks is still a Giant for 2 more years after this season. They signed him to a 4-year deal. Verlander, he was a 1-year contract, but he's going to want to start. He's not a reliever. Robbie Ray, I assume he's going to be in the rotation. And Landon Rook has been amazing. So I'm not too sure unless something happens with like an injury or something that we'll see a Hayden Birdsong or a Kyle Harrison or Wisenhunt. But I mean, that just speaks to Posey, like we just said. He's giving these players some leashes. And I think the most likely candidate is probably Hicks. I think we saw him kind of fatigue and tire out last season and get moved to the bullpen. But he hasn't given them a reason to do that so far. But if I had to bet my money on someone getting moved to the bullpen, it would be him just because of his history.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting predicament because Hicks, I mean, it's so weird. Like, he hit 102 in that start, gets shelled in the first inning. It's like he could be like, he's got elite stuff. It's also like you got Birdsong 23. It's not like, I think some fans, like I've seen on Twitter, like just plug and play him in the rotation. Like, it takes some time to get ramped up. I wonder what it is behind the scenes with Birdsong if he's like throwing after his 2-inning things because I know last year the Tigers did it with Job, but for a full season of Birdsong, it's interesting. I'm happy I'm not making the decisions, but 100% something to monitor. We're going into the next segment, season predictions. I know it's still early. Yeah. As we talk right now at 14-8, 6 games above 500, is this a playoff roster? And do you think this team's got a chance to make the playoffs, or are they 1 or 2 moves away from making that wild card?
That's a good question. I would say so far they have the best bullpen in baseball, and I think that's a very sustainable thing. Like we said, Randy Rodriguez, Ryan Walker, of course, had that blow-up outing yesterday, but I think he's still a good closer. I'll have to see him implode a few more times before I get worried. That was his first blown save of his career, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, yeah, the bullpen, we know they're going to play. The rotation, we know Webb is going to give you a quality start every day he goes out there for the most part. Landon Roop, I expect him to take a jump this year. He's got absolute disgusting stuff. And if it weren't for Mike Trout, he would have had the best start of his – I mean, that was probably the best start of his career, but his start would have been that much better the other day. And I think Verlander, I think it's hard for him to get worse than he's been. We saw yesterday that was a very solid outing from him. If you can get that every 5th day, I like the odds to win. And as for the lineup, we know how most of them are off to kind of slow starts and stuff. And I think it could be a playoff roster. I don't think it's a division winning roster in this division, but I think for sure it could be a playoff roster just because of all the timely hitting. And I like the vibes that I've seen so far. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, I do think this is a playoff roster. And I mean, it's kind of like, do I think they should go out and add somebody? I don't really know who they would add, because who would you look to try and get? You know what I mean? You don't need a starter because of all that depth. The bullpen is solid. So do you go and look for uh, like I just don't see like them bringing anyone in to make a huge impact. You know what I mean?
It's an interesting predicament. Like, I think about it a lot. Like, if I'm bored in the day, it's like I'm with you. Like, you maybe add a first baseman, but you don't want to, like, it can't be a long-term guy. Like, I would have loved Josh Naylor for that, but obviously he's not going to be on the board. So, like, I love, like, sending out, like, the Framber Valdez tweets, but it doesn't make sense yet. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see them adding. A lot can happen if there's some injuries. You can maybe add a long reliever if you don't like what Bivens is doing. Yeah. But just, like, rolling into the playoff roster thing, this team's 14-8, 6 games above 500. And I'm going to read some stats here. Ramos at 231, Adames at 202, Chapman at 240. I mean, these guys are off to bad starts, and we're 6 games above 500. So that's what keeps me going. Like, they're finding ways to win. So if you can get Ramos to heat up, he hasn't even been bad, but if you can get him back to, like, his Linsanity run, Adames, it's coming. This team can win some games, Colton.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ramos was literally an all-star in his first full season. So I think him and Willie, when they start to get going, I think this team will really take off for sure.
No, I'm super excited. And then just like last kind of question, like for you, what's the bare minimum to grade this season as a success in Posey's first season?
For sure. I think that is it's a difficult question to judge, you know what I mean? Because he was given this team, and it's like they've been just a mediocre team for the last like 5 seasons, with the exception of 1 season. And that's kind of been like the standard since the golden age of Giants baseball. It's just been a lot of like 80-win seasons. So I would say, does he have to make the playoffs? Like before this season, like would you have said Posey has to make the playoffs to have a good season? Like I don't think you would have. So I would say like just something to like build off. And I think we've already seen like the vibes are different. I think there's a good chance that they do make the playoffs, and if that happens, I think it's easy A+ for Posey's first season. And another thing is like a lot of these guys are like people that Farhan Zaidi brought in, and I know people don't like that name, but I was talking with my bud about it the other day. Like this is kind of like a pivot question, but who would you give more credit to, Posey or Farhan, for how this team's doing?
It's really interesting because I think Farhan's like hate was deserved, but he went out there, he found Birdsong from nowhere. Yeah. He's responsible for Roop. He did draft Eldridge. I know people laugh about that, but he did draft Eldridge. I give Posey a lot of credit for changing the culture in terms of Adames and guys like that, but I do think Farhan has had more to building this roster. What about you?
Yeah, like you said, building the roster, I think it was definitely a Farhan thing. Farhan last year, he signed Lee, who got injured, and he called up Ramos. And by the way, if Ramos didn't get off to that insanely hot start last season, he's probably sent down. I forgot who got injured, but somebody got injured, and he got an opportunity to play, and he absolutely killed it and ended up being an all-star. But I would give my credit to – it sucks to say, but, I mean, Farhan kind of built the team. But I think, like we already discussed, the leash that these players have, they know they can fail, and they know they'll still be in the lineup the next day. So I think that kind of culture that Posey brings to this team, the winning culture that we expect from him, that's definitely played a huge role in the hot start too. So
it's really interesting. I think it's a good argument for guys like Farhan, like those analytical guys, to have like a solid role in the front office because he found some diamonds in the rough. But I mean, as we've talked about here, like a baseball manager letting Melvin go out and do his thing, Posey's setting the lineups early. I do think it's important, as you said. These guys are humans at the end of the day, and it means like if you show up to work and you don't know what you're doing for the day, it's a little difficult.
Yeah.
So excited to see him play the Brewers this week. We appreciate you joining, Colton. You got any parting thoughts before we let you go?
Not sure. I don't really have any kind of final thoughts. I will say, I expect the Giants to make the playoffs, and I hope we do make the playoffs, and I hope it's just a good season, fun season. We've had great games so far. I know they lost yesterday, but that's why baseball is such a good sport. I mean, they blew. Imagine if you were an Angels fan yesterday. That had to have been like a fun game to go to. So that's what makes baseball baseball, and I'm excited to see what this team can do throughout the season. And thank you so much for having me. This was cool to talk about the Giants with someone else. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, of course. Thank you for joining us, Colton. This was a blast. We'll drop all of his socials below. Go give him a follow. His content's incredible. Colton, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, of course, man. And thank everyone for watching, too. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, of course. We'll catch you guys next time. Make sure to subscribe. This is Giant Hot Takes Podcast. We'll catch you next time.